Hello everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Polity Quick Revision Series. So in this video, we'll talk about the salient features of Indian Constitution. So we know that Indian Constitution has borrowed many different features from different constitutions from around the globe by debating what's best for a new and modern India. So here we'll take a look at which features have been borrowed from which source. So without any further delay, let's get started.
Talked about, Indian constitution is a borrowed constitution, okay, or a patchwork. Not my words, okay. It's there in your book itself, or patchwork. What do we mean by all of these things? It is because of this, right? A lot of the features that we see in our constitution have been thoughtfully borrowed. Okay, not just borrowed, it has been thoughtfully borrowed, right? So for instance, your federal scheme, governor, the real actual role of the governor, because office of the governor was there, but the actual role of governor, like how we have it right now, okay, the judiciary, the public service commission, emergency provisions, administrative details, there are all of these things have come from your Government of India Act 1935, about which you would have studied in detail in your history, right? I think you would have studied it in your history, right? In history, you have to study those acts, or in polity first chapter. I don't know where you study it. Okay, you can study it from your polity book, or you can study it from your spectrum. Which book do you follow for your modern India, modern history?
Spectrum, sir.
Okay, 1784. Then what do we have? 1813. Then 33, and then we have 53, and then I believe we have 61, then 91, 92 somewhere there, right? And then you have 1909, then 1919, and so on and so forth. All right. So if you study these, you will understand. So an important element here is your 1935. So 1935 may, even today, a lot of those features have come into our constitution through your 1935. Similarly, British Constitution. We have parliamentary form of government because we realize that our system is better suited for our country, our society. Parliamentary government is a lot better, right? Rather than have a presidential sort of a system, okay? Because we have very diverse sort of population, and then it is better to give, for a multitude of reasons, right? Parliamentary system is good. Rule of law, legislative procedure, single citizenship, right? In America, they don't have a single citizenship. They have dual citizenship. What do you mean by dual citizenship versus single citizenship? It does not mean that Americans can be a citizen of America, of US, and then they can be a citizen of Britain, which they can, but that is not what dual citizenship is about. Your citizenship there, it is you are part of Indiana state and of USA, the country. You're part of Virginia and you are part of USA. That is what they mean by dual citizenship. Similarly, the cabinet system, writs, privileges, parliamentary privileges, bicameralism, all of these things have been borrowed from there. Similarly, fundamental rights. What is fundamental rights equivalent in your US Constitution?
Bill of Rights.
Perfect. Wonderful. Bill of Rights. Bill of Rights. Okay. Independence of judiciary. Okay. Judicial review. Impeachment of the president. Okay. Removal of Supreme Court and High Court. Post of vice president. Many of these aspects have come from your US, right? Has anybody been impeached in the US? There was a trial of, or they actually wanted Trump to be impeached, right? That again brought focus on impeachment. Similarly, this sort of an episode happened when Bill Clinton was in power. If you guys remember Monica Lewinsky scandal, maybe most of you were not alive then, right? But I'm sure that you must have heard of it. Irish Constitution, right? DPSPs are from your Irish Constitution, okay? And nomination of members to the Rajya Sabha. Okay, we nominate certain members, and who are those members? Whether they belong to arts and literature or social service and sciences, these sort of members can be nominated, right? And method of election of president. So even this aspect is from the Irish Constitution. Canadian Constitution, we have a federation with a stronger center. Now we know this, right? And let us say that there is some power that is not explicitly mentioned, right? Oops, beg your pardon. This is going to go to the center, not for the states. In certain countries that have a stronger state system, or rather than the stronger center, it'll be the opposite. The residuary powers go to the states. Okay, example, states, a country like USA. So appointment of state governors by the center. Even here, what do? In America, if you see, how is a governor, how do you become a governor in the US? Does anybody know? Okay, no worries. Although it is not the same exact position, okay, it's not the best sort of a comparison, because in India, the head of the state, okay, most of the real person who's the real head of the state is going to be your chief minister, okay, whereas the governor has certain other role. But the governor in the US, okay, he has to be elected. Okay, so he has, just like a presidential election, they will have an election. So there will be a governor candidate from your Republican Party. There will be another sort of a governor's candidate from the Democratic Party, and then they will go head to head. They will even have these sort of debates, like you have presidential debates. And this is quite interesting, because generally what you see is the president will either be previously a senator, okay, or he will be a governor. Okay, so the senator, I think Biden was a senator. I'm not sure about Biden, right? But if you look at it, Illinois senator was your Barack Obama. Before that, you had George Bush, right? George Bush was the governor of Texas. George. Similarly, your Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton too was a governor, I believe. Right, things like that. So it's very different. So these guys are like contesting for elections, and then they come there. Okay, so just be aware, it's not the exact same terminology. And the fact that you have advisory jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, okay, this comes under your Article 143. Okay, so the president can ask for some sort of Supreme Court to advise on a particular thing. Okay, now is that cast in stone? Does he have to follow it? Now that is something that we'll again take a look. Okay, Australian Constitution, concurrent list. State and the center to sort of share power, freedom of trade, commerce, and intercourse throughout the country. Okay, and joint sitting. So if, for instance, can I ask you a question? Joint sitting is present in your parliament, and then you have it in state legislature. True or false? Joint sitting is present in parliament and state legislature. True or false?
True, I think.
True. So states also can have joint sittings. Okay, anybody else?
True.
Okay. So we'll come back to that because this is also an important chapter, parliament and state legislature. See, first of all, a state should have both your assembly, and the state should have the council. Only in those sort of states can we talk about both of them having a possibility of having a joint sitting or something. But you will notice that in the state, assembly has a little more power in comparison to what the Lok Sabha enjoys in comparison or with vis-a-vis Rajya Sabha and the council. So here they did not decide to go with joint sitting, no joint sitting. Whereas in parliament, yes, there is a joint sitting. So what does that mean? Your Rajya Sabha is a little more powerful than the council, because the Rajya Sabha can still force a joint sitting, right? And be present in that sitting and vote for that in that sitting. But however, the council members in the state don't have that same power, despite the fact that they belong to the upper house. Okay, now Germany may suspension of fundamental rights during emergency. Okay, there are certain fundamental rights that can be suspended during your emergencies, depending upon what emergency, not all emergencies, right? That is that. What about the Soviet, right? So India was a lot closer to the Soviet world than it was to America, even during Cold War. What did we take from them? Fundamental duties, ideals of justice, social, economic, political justice, right? You guys have seen, right? Social, we talked about in the previous session, social justice, economic justice, political justice, all of that. From the French Constitution, what have we taken? The fact that it is a republic. Okay, are we a monarchy? Can you tell me one monarchy, please? Monarchy is not your republic.
Oman.
Oman. Is it a monarchy? Is there a king in Oman?
Yeah, the Omani Sultanate.
Okay, then if that is the case, then great. Okay, like your Bahrain, or whether you have, your West Asian countries, right? Not all West Asian countries, the GCC countries, many of them have a king. Okay, that is that. But can you name a country that is a democracy and a monarchy?
Britain.
Okay, so that's a very good example. Okay, wonderful. See, when you come connect it to what you see around, then it becomes easier for you to sort of remember also. Great. And similarly, South African Constitution, we have taken procedure for amendment of the Constitution. Anybody knows what article it is that deals with amendment of the Constitution?
Is it 318?
It is actually 368. Okay, but close enough. Okay. So good. And the Japanese Constitution, procedure established by law. Okay, procedure established by law. Okay, there are two things: procedure established by law and due process of law. Okay, due process of law is by the US, procedure established by law in Japan and India. Okay, so do you understand that this table is important? And if it is important, what do you have to keep in mind? What have we borrowed and from whom? What does it mean? Whom have we borrowed it from? Okay, so these are elements that you want to keep in mind. Okay.
All right, guys. So that brings us to the close of our video. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you found the video to be useful. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the very next video.